Aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron with you. I recently was baptized, first time in my life, and have overtly and deliberately dedicated myself and dived into church life, if we say it that way, more overtly following Jesus. And I say more overtly because I've long admired, appreciated, and been learning from Jesus what I know of him. I don't remember consciously being there with him back in the day. And part of the process is fascinating. There are discoveries for me, and part of that is as I'm sharing with people about it. One, it's surprising because I've got a long history of spiritual practices in depth in different traditions, and because, well, one of the things I'm learning, well, let me put it this way. One of the reasons I avoided Christianity, avoided all religion when I was a kid, was because all religions seemed to me to be what most people just fell into by default with no critical thinking, is the way I would have put it then, or maybe I would say now, without really considering, feeling into, discovering, exploring, what does this mean, and what does it mean for me, and how am I involved? And so that all changed for me. Mid-20s, divine whack, upside the head, I had an awakening, which led me into personal and spiritual development, and that led me to almost every spiritual tradition except Christianity. So it's been a big change for me in the last year to really dive into it. And two things happened in the last day that prompt this video and why I'm sharing this with you. And the question in some way is like, well, is this the only way? And if I am a follower of Jesus, does that mean I have to renounce this or renounce that? And for many years, that was one of the things that kept me away from most every religion, because the idea that we've got the right way and they've got the wrong way and we're going to heaven and there, that just doesn't sit right. It doesn't feel true to me. So a new friend of mine who I met recently, and I knew that he was a very devoted Christian, that he would be excited about the news I was going to be baptized, and it would be something we could connect around. And so I shared with him, and we had a nice conversation. And I received a phone message from him a few days ago after the baptism. How'd it go? And I was like, oh, it was awesome. And he's like, yeah, well, guys, I'm like you. I used to be into yoga and meditation, and and I've given those things up, and I'm proud of you for giving those things up, right? Because in the end, those were really hollow. I was like, huh, I still like yoga, right? Is that hollow? I don't know. Well, I think it depends on me whether how I fill that out, right? There is no meaning other than the meaning we make in life. Now, so something just felt weird to me about that. I was like, huh, I didn't think about that, feel into that. Then I received a question a day ago, which was from somebody who also had explored a lot of other traditions. And actually, I'll just read the question because it's great. Have you thrown out all other practices and spiritual beliefs? I have struggled with this. I desire a deeper connection with Christ, but I don't want to let go of other teachings, experiences. So I'm wondering, what is in the way? Is it an all or nothing thing? Does reading the Bible bring a deeper understanding? So, there's a lot in that. And my response is, no, I haven't thrown anything away. I don't feel the need to throw anything away. Now, to be fair, I've come to Christianity and baptism and joining a church not because my life was broken, not because I was an alcoholic and needed to give up alcohol, right? And those are great. That's fine if that's what brings anyone there. It's just not where I'm at. And there's something really important about the 12-step programs where someone says, hey, you know what? I'm not dealing, right? My life is not functional right now. I need to let go of this thing that's really screwing things up for me, and I'm going to choose to live by a higher power. There's something beautiful and awesome about that, right? And in some way, what that is like most of the world of psychology has been for many years, which is going from dysfunctional to functional, right? And awesome, good, important. I'm more interested for myself and the work I do with my clients to go from functional or pretty good to extraordinary, to awesome, to amazing, to enlightened, to awake, to unconditional love. So, a deeper connection with Christ, give up the other things. Let me get the question right. So, deeper connection with Christ, but I don't want to let go of other teachings, experiences. Okay, there's a lot in that one. So, let's take that a little bit by bit because we have to let go, right? We have to let go, right? If we want to cross a river, a canoe is useful. And when we get to the other side, no point in carrying the canoe with us, right? So the teachings, the experiences that we've had are awesome. I love all the dark nights of the soul I've had. I love that I took Buddhist vows. I love that I became a sannyasin in a Hindu tradition. I love that I received a spiritual name. All those things are awesome. And for me to step forward, to be present, I have to let go of those things, right? Doesn't mean that I condemn them or there is anything wrong with them. They're perfect parts of what led me to now. Right? So, what is in the way? Is something in the way? Is there something in the way, or is it just you've taken the next beautiful step, right, in your way of connecting to the divine? Now, I probably implied already that when I came to the decision, when I started investigating, I don't want to go too deep into that because I've told that story recently of how it came to be that I got baptized. One of the ways, though, is I heard a voice that said, "Come closer to me, my son." And I said, "Ooh, hey, that sounds really Christian. Okay, I'm curious. What does that mean? Why is it coming in that way?" I've heard voices and messages in other ways before. And one of the things that helped me a lot in the process was a conversation I had with one of my teachers, mentors, Steve Hardison. And he said something very early in his life when he was in his early 20s, I think it was, as part of a speech. And I'm going to read the exact piece here of what he said because it helped me and maybe it'll help you as well. This was as part of a speech competition. And I forget what the actual prompt was, but something like, if you could do one thing to change the world, what would it be? And his response was, "I would change all the sacred texts and that teach the world must end with an Armageddon or some cataclysmic battle. I would change all the holy scriptures that say one group of people has the truth and another doesn't. I would change what parents teach their children so that any teachings that divide and alienate people of different races, religions, and countries vanished overnight. In their place, I would insert the teaching that all people are equal. All people are valuable. When we come together to work for the common good of all people, we have community instead of separation. We have unity instead of divisiveness. We have love instead of hate." And again, I don't consciously remember being there with Jesus, right, just before the crucifixion and when he was coming onto the scene. However, one thing I sense about that is part of what's extraordinary about him is he said, "Come, everybody," right? Not only you because you're born this way, or only you because you've got this skin color, or only you because you've given up yoga, right? Ganesh, right? Jesus, many forms of divine light. And what it all comes down to, as far as I can tell, is, does all of that help us to be more loving? Does it help us to take care of each other, to come together as one? So, last thing I will share with you, one of my favorite poems. And I actually had to look it up because I only remembered lines of it. And I was like, was that Rumi? Was that Hafez? No! It is Kabir, right? "Are you looking for me? I am in the next seat. My shoulder is against yours. You will not find me in stupas, not in Indian shrine rooms, nor in synagogues, nor in cathedrals, nor in masses, nor in kirtans, nor in legs winding around your own neck, nor in eating nothing but vegetables. When you really look for me, you will see me instantly. You will find me in the tiniest house of time. Kabir says, student, tell me, what is God? He is the breath inside the breath. That's the title of the poem, Breath. And what is breath? Breath is life. Inspira, we say in Spanish. Inspire, breathe in. That's what that means. Breath is the animating force. When we are inspired, we are filled with the divine. Right? We have energy. We have life. So my humble addition to Kabir comes to me from, at one point I was, after the spiritual awakening and after letting go of my opposition to Christianity, right, and sitting in a cathedral, Santiago de Compostela, the destination of the great pilgrimage. And I was sitting in that cathedral, and honest, this was only a few years after my awakening, and I was still having some resistance to Christianity. Like, it took me something to go in there. And I went in there and I sat for a long time, and I realized, you know what? This may sound weird, especially if you've come from Christianity. What came to me is, I can find God even here. Right? So my addition to Kabir, and he says, you will not find me in stupas in all these different places. You'll find me everywhere. Right? When you are ready, he, she, it, spirit, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, doesn't matter to me what we call it. It's everywhere. We don't have to let go of anything from our past. All of it got us here. We can love it. We can integrate it. All right, y'all. I hope that is helpful, interesting. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. See you later.